saving for was sitting face down in the grease of an outdoor trash can, completely ruined. My 7-year-old daughter, Lily, was standing right beside me, tears silently streaming down her face as she looked at the shattered remains of her birthday wish. When I confronted my family, my own sister took a slow sip of her drink, looked me dead in the eye, and laughed, saying she wasn't worth wasting expensive cake on anyway. I didn't scream. I didn't make a scene. I just picked up my sobbing daughter, walked out of the house, and cut them all off completely. But my family forgot one massive detail. They thought they had successfully broken me, but less than 24 hours later, the tables turned when my mother called me sobbing, begging me to save my sister's upcoming wedding. My name is Jacqueline, and at 28 years old, I've spent the better part of a decade learning a harsh, immutable truth about my family. Love is entirely conditional, and some bloodlines value a mirage of perfection over actual flesh and blood. As a single mother, my entire universe revolves around my 7-year-old daughter, Lily. She is my joy, my purpose, and the reason I pull double shifts without a single complaint. But to my parents and my younger sister, Vanessa, we were always treated as the invisible background characters in their grand family play. Vanessa was the golden child, a woman who never had to face a single consequence because our parents paved every road she walked on. For months, I meticulously saved every spare dollar to plan the perfect 7th birthday party for Lily. I skimped on groceries, skipped buying new clothes, and worked extra hours just to afford a spectacular, custom 3-tier birthday cake she'd been dreaming about for a year. Because my apartment was too small, my parents grudgingly allowed me to use their spacious backyard for the celebration. I foolishly believed that, just this once, the family would come together to make my little girl feel cherished. Instead, the entire afternoon became a painful backdrop for Vanessa's endless boasting about her upcoming high-end, luxury wedding. While Lily played happily with her few school friends, my mother and sister spent the entire time huddled over catering samples and bridal magazines, completely ignoring the beautiful child whose special day it was supposed to be. The shift from neglected celebration to absolute nightmare happened in an instant. I walked into my parents' kitchen to grab the lighter for Lily's candles, but when I opened the outdoor refrigerator where I had carefully stored her custom 3-tier cake, the shelf was completely empty. A cold panic gripped me. I stepped outside, my eyes scanning the patio until they landed on a large, gray outdoor trash can. There, sitting face down in the grease, discarded paper plates, and chicken bones, was Lily's beautiful cake, completely shattered and ruined. Lily had followed me outside, and the look of sheer heartbreak on her face as tears silently streamed down her cheeks broke something deep inside me. Furious, I stormed back to the patio table where my family was sitting and demanded to know who did it. Vanessa didn't even look up from her bridal magazine. She took a slow sip of her iced coffee, looked me dead in the eye, and laughed. "I did it," she said carelessly. "We needed room in the fridge for my luxury wedding catering samples. Besides, she wasn't worth wasting expensive cake on anyway." I froze, waiting for my parents to defend their granddaughter, but my mother just sighed and adjusted her sunglasses. "Oh, stop making a scene, Jacqueline. It's just a cake, and Vanessa's wedding is a major event. You're completely overreacting." The cruelty in the air was suffocating. Looking down at the image of my beautiful, sobbing daughter, holding on to me with absolute heartbreak, I realized we would never belong here. I didn't scream or argue. I simply wiped Lily's tears, picked her up, walked straight to my car, and drove away, vowing never to let them hurt her again. Before I tell you how the venue phone call changed everything, I'm so curious to see how far our little family has grown. I want to take a quick moment to connect with all of you who are watching this story unfold right now, so I can see how far my story has reached and say a proper thank you. Your incredible support truly means the world to Lily and me. Now, let's get back to the morning when my family's perfect plan completely shattered. The morning sun was barely breaking through my apartment windows when my phone began to vibrate violently on the nightstand. I blinked through the haze of a sleepless night, finding 40 missed calls and a barrage of increasingly frantic text messages, all from my mother. Before I could even process the numbers, the screen lit up with her contact photo again. I slid the bar to answer, and the moment the line connected, a torrent of hysterical, high-pitched sobbing filled the room. My mother was completely breathless, her voice cracking with a terrifying mixture of panic and raw fury as she screamed that the luxury estate venue was canceling Vanessa's dream wedding. Through her heavy hyperventilating, she wailed, "Jacqueline, you have to fix this right now. Please call the venue coordinator immediately. They're throwing us out and canceling your sister's entire wedding because of you." I sat on the edge of my bed, listening to her spiral into utter chaos, remembering the image of my daughter weeping over her ruined birthday cake just yesterday. The sheer audacity of her demands after what they had done was breathtaking. I didn't raise my voice, and I didn't ask for explanations. I took a slow, deep breath and calmly delivered my response. "Honestly, I don't care." Before she could form another syllable, I pressed the red button, cutting her off instantly, and hung up the phone, leaving her screaming into dead air while a strange, cold wave of vindication settled deep into my chest. Even though I had hung up on my mother, my mind was racing. How could a luxury wedding venue cancel my sister's wedding because of me? I had absolutely nothing to do with Vanessa's wedding planning, or so I desperately thought. Compelled by a sinking feeling in my stomach, I looked up the phone number for the estate venue and called the coordinator directly to demand answers. When I gave her my name, her tone shifted from professional politeness to deep suspicion. "Ms. Jacqueline, we are glad you called," she said, pulling up the digital file. "We were actually about to flag this account for legal review." As the coordinator read through the contract details, the horrifying truth finally clicked into place. Because Vanessa had terrible credit, zero savings, and a history of financial evictions, my parents had deliberately bypassed her background checks. They had fraudulently used my full name, my clean credit profile, and a forged digital signature to set me up as the primary financial guarantor for the massive $35,000 venue contract. They had literally stolen my identity to fund Vanessa's lavish lifestyle. The only reason the venue caught on was because their secondary fraud verification software flagged a discrepancy in the banking routing numbers early that morning. The sheer scale of their betrayal left me entirely breathless. They hadn't just broken my daughter's heart. They had actively laid a massive financial trap designed to completely destroy my future, all to ensure the golden child got her perfect day. Instead of cowering or quietly letting them fix the discrepancy, I chose to unleash the ultimate consequence. I looked at the memory of my daughter's quiet strength from the day before and knew exactly what I had to do. I explicitly told the venue coordinator that I had never signed that contract. My identity had been stolen, and I refused to authorize a single dime of the transaction. Because the contract was built on systemic fraud, the venue immediately canceled the reservation and informed my family that they were retaining the non-refundable $5,000 deposit Vanessa had paid using her personal savings. The dominoes fell rapidly from there. When the venue officially closed the file, an automated cancellation alert was sent to Vanessa's entitled fiancé. Within hours, he discovered that Vanessa had completely lied about having independent family funding and had instead tried to legally bind her own sister into debt. Realizing he was marrying into a nest of fraud and financial ruin, he packed his bags and walked away from the relationship, causing the entire wedding to permanently collapse. My mother and sister called back, screaming threats of legal action and vowing to ruin my reputation. I let them finish before delivering the final blow. I emailed them a copy of the ironclad identity theft and fraud report I had just filed with the local police department. "The venue has the security footage of you signing my name," I told them coldly. "You have exactly 24 hours to pack your things, leave me and Lily alone forever, and never contact us again. If you don't, I will press full criminal charges, and Vanessa can wear her wedding dress to a prison cell." They knew I wasn't bluffing. Faced with absolute defeat, they backed off completely. 3 months have passed since that final showdown, and the silence from my family has been the greatest gift I could have ever asked for. I officially sold what I could, packed up our lives, and moved Lily and myself to a quiet, charming neighborhood far away from their toxicity. Last weekend, we celebrated a private, joyful redo birthday party right in our new kitchen. There were no grand expectations, no toxic relatives, and absolutely no bridal magazines. Just loud laughter, games, and a beautiful, giant cake that we safely sliced and enjoyed together. As for Vanessa and my parents, poetic justice worked quickly. With her wedding entirely ruined and her savings swallowed by the non-refundable deposit, Vanessa had to downgrade her lifestyle significantly, moving back into our parents' cramped house while working a low-paying retail job to pay off her mounting debts. They are trapped in the bitter reality they built for themselves. If you discovered your family used your identity after intentionally hurting your child, would you have protected them to keep the peace? Or would you have stood your ground and done exactly what I did? I reminded you that protecting your peace is always worth it. Please check out the next video on your screen right now. Thank you.